We're in the middle of rankings week here on the channel after having gotten started on Monday. Here on the channel we go through every position and we rank the top 10 players at each spot, along with identifying a few honorable mentions that just missed the cut, and we do this twice per year because as new information and data presents itself, it's always important to take into account and update accordingly. One update comes midway through the season, and the other update comes during the off-season when the season is over, which is the one that we're doing right now. So far, we've gone through the point guards and the shooting guards already, so if you missed those videos, be sure to go watch them after you watch this one. But now we'll be moving on to the small forward position, which is definitely one of the strongest spots in the league. Before we start though, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel, as all support is very much appreciated. Now with that being said, let's begin. Starting things off with the honorable mentions that just missed the cut, the players in this category are Michael Porter Jr., Mikal Bridges, Saddiq Bey, and Bojan Bogdanovic. Michael Porter Jr. was on a quickly rising trajectory until he re-aggravated a back injury that has hampered him since college, and now we have to be much more cautious with what we expect from him. At full strength, he has the scoring talent to rise up this list, but we can't ignore the question marks. Mikal Bridges is the ideal modern 3-and-D player who finished as a finalist for the Defensive Player of the Year award this past season and provides tremendous value in an off-ball role. Bojan Bogdanovic is always one of the more unheralded players at the position, but year in and year out, he provides very reliable perimeter shooting and overall scoring. Then Saddiq Bey is someone emerging on a Pistons team that doesn't get much attention, but he's a strong two-way player that can score in bunches when he gets hot. Now to start things off at number 10 and work our way up to that number 1 spot, we have RJ Barrett of the New York Knicks. Barrett has progressively gotten better and better as a scorer every year through 3 seasons, and he's coming off of a year where he eclipsed the 20-point per game mark. He also does so while being matched up defensively with the opposing team's best perimeter player, so his two-way impact absolutely deserves some recognition. He does admittedly need to continue to work on his overall shot selection, and he has stretches where his shooting efficiency dips, but there's a lot to like in RJ's game at just 22 years old. Next up at number 9, we have OG Anunoby of the Toronto Raptors. Anunoby is another player who we have seen get better and better every single season through 5 seasons in the league, and as he enters his prime years, could be in for an even bigger breakout over the next few seasons. Injuries have held him off of the court for a decent chunk of each of the last 2 seasons, which is one of the biggest disappointments here, but overall, he's an incredibly balanced producer on both ends of the floor. Anunoby has shot about 38% from 3 over the last 3 seasons combined. He averaged 17 points per game last year. He's a much improved player in terms of creating for himself off the dribble, while also being a very good spot-up shooter, and defensively, he gives the Raptors a versatile competitor that can capably defend multiple positions. Next up at number 8 is Andrew Wiggins of the Golden State Warriors. There was arguably no greater turnaround in terms of how they were viewed by the average basketball fan than Andrew Wiggins in the past year. Throughout most of his career, he's been an inefficient, shot-chucking ISO scorer that didn't play much defense and forced things too much, and now he's essentially become the ideal two-way wing that plays his role and doesn't try to do too much anymore. He was a massive factor in the Warriors winning the championship this season, as his defense disrupted some top talents along the way, such as Luka Doncic and Jayson Tatum, on the biggest stage, all while averaging about 17 points a night throughout their run. He embraced an entirely different role and thrived in it, and now deserves all of the flowers he's been getting. Up next at number 7, we have Khris Middleton of the Milwaukee Bucks. Middleton had a slightly down year this season, seeing a tiny dip in his overall shooting splits after being one of the most efficient volume scorers in the league the 2 years prior, and then unfortunately, to cap it off, he was injured after 2 playoff games and missed the team's series against the Boston Celtics. After playing a huge role in the Bucks taking home the title 2 seasons ago, his absence proved how important he is to the success of the team, and when he's back at full strength, the Bucks should once again be back in title contention. Next up at number 6, we have Brandon Ingram of the New Orleans Pelicans. Ingram got his first taste of playoff basketball this season, and he definitely impressed and made the most of it on the big stage. In their series against the Phoenix Suns, Ingram averaged 27 points and 6 assists per game, while shooting 48% from the field and 41% from 3, including 3 straight games of scoring at least 30 or more points. His court vision and overall playmaking has come a long way, and it helps him produce as a primary ball handler while still using his length to comfortably shoot over defenders and finish through contact. I think Ingram could be in for a massive season next year now that the team is poised for a playoff run. Next up at number 5, we have DeMar DeRozan of the Chicago Bulls. DeRozan proved everybody wrong last year when he signed with the Bulls and had his best ever season as a pro to date. There were periods where he was in the MVP conversation, he averaged a career-high 28 points per game, and his presence played a huge part in the Bulls ending their playoff drought. Unfortunately, the playoffs were another story, which has been a recurring theme in his career, and even though he did have one 41-point performance in the playoffs, in the rest of the series, he scored below 20 points in 3 of the 4 remaining games. He's an incredibly talented wing that comes with some unfortunate lows combined with his impressive highs, hence why he's in the middle of the pack. Up next at number 4, we have Kawhi Leonard of the Los Angeles Clippers. Leonard missed the entire season last year, so he was very tough to try to rank. Obviously, when he's healthy, he has proven that he is better than a few players ranked above him on this list at the moment as a multiple-time NBA champion and Finals MVP, but until we see how he performs post-injury, I can't feel good putting him any higher than number 4. Next up at number 3, we have Jayson Tatum of the Boston Celtics. Tatum had an incredibly up-and-down season last year as it started off being one of his worst and least efficient of his career, then midway through the season he started to turn his play around, and as a result the Celtics started to take off too. He's the number 1 option for the team that made it all the way to the NBA Finals, and without question is one of the best rising scoring talents in the NBA, but he still has a tendency to settle for some bad shots at inopportune moments, and those struggles held the team back against the Warriors in the finals. If Kawhi Leonard was healthy, I probably would have put Kawhi over Tatum, and I still feel as though these next 2 players I'm about to discuss are also better, despite their upsetting team success from this past season. That brings me to number 2 on this list, Kevin Durant of the Brooklyn Nets. I know the Nets got eliminated by Tatum's Celtics in a sweep, but I feel like it's lazy to use that as reasoning for putting Tatum above Durant. The Celtics were a deep team that dominated defensively across the board and got solid production from all 8 players in their rotation, while the Nets were a train wreck across the board. Durant definitely did stink up the joint in that series, don't get me wrong, but I won't overreact too much when Durant has been one of the best players in the entire league for about a decade now. And finally, at number 1 on this list, we have LeBron James of the Los Angeles Lakers. It's crazy to think that LeBron could still be performing at a level to be ranked here at his age, but when you have a season averaging 30 points, 8 rebounds, and 6 assists, shooting 52% from the field like LeBron just did, it's tough to argue against. The Lakers were a train wreck too, there's no doubt about it, but Anthony Davis was both a shell of himself and always injured alongside him. Russell Westbrook did not fit in at all on the team, and the pieces around them just weren't very good either. LeBron definitely isn't as dominant as he used to be, but he's still really damn good, and for now I have him at the top spot of the small forwards. And with that being said, that's all I have for you today. Make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and comment down below how you would rank the players at the small forward position. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time.